Hi ma'am, so my name is Tenzin, and the topic that I have chosen for my critical essay is population aging and its implications for health policy in Japan. So the reason why I chose Japan as my country of interest is because population aging
relates more specifically with Japan, and so I have decided to use Japan as my country. Before I chose Japan, I thought of choosing Italy as well, but then I came back to choosing Japan because I thought that choosing Japan would allow me to have access to a lot of resources, much more than what I would have gotten if I chose Italy as my country of interest.
Hi ma'am, so right now I am finding sources for my essay, and before I start reviewing the papers, I have decided to generate the citations for them in case I use those papers. So what I'm doing is I'm using Zaterabib right now to generate the sources for the resources that I have found. However, I am still not sure if I'm going to use those resources as of yet. So for now, these are the number of references that I have come up with, but I have not used any of this right now. Another reason why I chose Japan over Italy was due to this finding that I found from BBC News. So what I found was that Japan ranks the highest in terms of aging population with 29.1%, whereas Italy falls second with 24.5%. So due to this reason as well, I decided to go with Japan because I feel like there's more information regarding the aging population in Japan than there is for Italy. Good afternoon, ma'am. So today I will be talking about how I identified relevant sources for my essay because I do not have proper access to the resources that I want to use for my essay. I used a website known as Elicit. It's ELICIT. So it's a website allows me to just put in my research question, and then that website generates the types of papers that are relevant to my question that I've asked the website, and through that I selected the most relevant sources. Before I began reading the resources, I first cited and downloaded all of the resources that I thought might be helpful for my research. And after I cited all of those resources and downloaded the resources, I went through each of the papers one by one. And then after that, at first I started with around 8 resources, and then after I read through all the papers, I only chose about 3 to 4 resources at the end because I found that the other papers that I picked weren't as relevant to my essay topic as I thought they would be, because they were just studies, not the theoretical explanations that I needed. And also I only considered research papers that had proper citations and the sources that allowed me to have full access to all the resources that I was looking for. For the papers that I did not find relevant sources for, I did not take them because if I learned that if they cannot generate sources, citations, it will be hard to access those sources as well. So I did not use those sources. Providing theoretical evidence based on what I read. For the analytical approach in my research, what I did was I read through all the research papers that I found, and after that I summarized all of the information that I found in my own words, and then I wrote it down in the essay format, and that's how I conducted the analytical approach. I did not use any other types of analysis. I just read through and I provided my own summary for it. So the first challenge that I faced when I conducted this research was not finding the proper sources for my essay. That was because at first I just typed in my topic as I wanted it to on Google Scholar, and I could not find relevant resources that I wanted to use for that. So I asked around and I found Elicit from one of my friends, and so that was how I gained proper access to the website Elicit. And I would say that for a proper research to be done, it would be better to discuss your difficulties and your problems with your friends, and as well as sharing the information that you find with your friends, because in the end it will benefit both the parties. The second roadblock that I faced in this research process was I didn't know how to find relevant information on Bhutan in this context, and it was really hard for me to search information about Bhutan in the context of my own research question, because as Madam knows, Bhutan doesn't really have many information on this kind of research questions. So the solution that I have to solve the problem of not finding relevant information about Bhutan would be to provide information that you already know about Bhutan and make it as critical as possible so that your readers will be able to understand it better. And then the other problem that I had was with the organization. I had all the information in hard copy, in as a rough work. I didn't know how to organize my essay because at that time it was very hard for me to decide whether I wanted to put the introduction first and then put all the body and the conclusion in a respective manner of how I usually write my essays. However, since I had to input the literature review as well, it got kind of confusing, and as well as in the body part, I didn't know how to organize the information that I found. I didn't know how many body parts that I wanted to make because it seemed very difficult, and it's my first time writing an essay with subtopics and topics under my essay. So this was the first learning procedure, and the solution that I have for this is to keeping your mind open and not limiting yourself to the traditional ways of how you used to do your work. And I would like to thank Madam for giving us this kind of opportunity to write an essay in such a unique way. This has enhanced my way of learning a lot more than I thought it would. So I really thank Ma'am for making us challenge ourselves. To sum up my findings, so the first thing was I had a lot of fun doing this research kind of essay. It's my first time conducting such a research type of essay in my life, and it was kind of fun for me, and it was a very great learning journey for me. So to conclude my vlog, the topic of my essay was aging population and its policy implementations in Japan, because Japan is my country of interest. And at first it took me a hard time to find relevant documents related to my research essay. It was really hard to even decide what I really wanted to write on, even though the topic was very clear for me. I didn't know what to choose to write in the body parts and how to introduce it and how to conclude it. But after I read through all the resources that I had downloaded, I found a clearer picture on how to go about with my research. And through the help of my friends, I came across a website which really made my job easy to find relevant resources, because I didn't have to switch between two websites finding the most relevant essays, because through that website I found relevant information for my relevant resources that I could use for my essay. And then the literature review also helped me derive a different perspective on how the aging population is viewed around the world and how it can be viewed in a positive light, as per the author that I have mentioned in my essay. And then the challenges that I found, like I said, I had a hard time organizing my work, and the second one was I had a hard time deciding which information of Bhutan I wanted to use. Plus, I also had a hard time finding relevant sources which talked about Bhutan in the context of the question that I was most concerned with. Thank you, ma'am. I would like to thank Madam the most for giving us this opportunity to do this research.
Can't put my finger on this feeling.